Dan Aykroyd.
This man is physically threatening me.
And Eddie Murphy.
Oh, bad! What now?
Are trading places.
Find out. I'm going to get to the bottom of it. This has been a great, great mistake.
And it looks just like the dude that had me busted.
It was gut jokes. It was gut jokes.
You're a dead man, Valentine.
Hey guys, I'm Kevin.
I'm Jake.
And this is Movie Matters. So, little change of plans here. We are no longer doing Revenge of the Nerds. We basically could not stream that movie anywhere. We looked on Amazon and it was like 2 to 3 weeks out to buy. We are no longer doing that movie. And instead, we are doing Trading Places from 1983, John Landis. Great cast. You got Don Amici, you got Dan Aykroyd, Eddie Murphy, Jamie Lee Curtis, Paul Gleason, Denholm Elliott. Awesome cast. This is the first time I'm seeing this movie, which is kind of shocking.
Yeah, same.
Oh, really? It was the first time for you? Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Sick. So, let me have it. What were your thoughts?
I thought it was pretty funny. I think my biggest gripe is that it was long. But overall, it was pretty entertaining.
Yeah, I would agree. I agree it was long. The trailer gives away the fact that they team up, which is kind of interesting. That they give away that in the trailer. That's a pretty big spoiler, and that doesn't happen until an hour and 20 minutes in, I feel like.
Yeah.
So that was pretty interesting, noticing that in the trailer. And I kind of knew that. Obviously with that poster too, it's I feel like you kind of know they're going to team up. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought it was good. It's a very well-known comedy, especially with these actors, especially from their SNL days, which they were known for. I didn't love it. I liked it a good amount. It was entertaining. The ending could be a lot better, if you ask me. There's certain parts where I was just all right, this is just kind of filler, or it's trying to be funny.
Yeah.
But we'll get to that. This movie made a good amount of money. It was a $15 million budget, made $90 million at the box office worldwide, which is pretty impressive for a comedy. We kind of mentioned it. I don't remember exactly which review we mentioned it in. Probably An American Werewolf in London is my guess, because it's another John Landis film. We talked about the Twilight Zone movie and the catastrophic, horrible event, basically the death of an actor and 2 children, and that was the movie John Landis was directing. And I definitely want to do that movie and do that one soon, because I've only seen that one scene. As horrible as that sounds, I've YouTubed it, where you see the people get killed, which is gruesome. But I know we're going to do that for sure. But this is the movie Trading Places he did right after Twilight Zone. So pretty interesting. John Landis was acquitted of basically manslaughter. And it's the first time in Hollywood that a director was accused of, or charged for a death on set, which is pretty crazy. So I'm interested in doing that film. But it's also interesting that he goes to a comedy. He is known for comedy, but hopefully this helped him. I know he had kind of a little bit of beef with Eddie Murphy, because he didn't support him, really, in any way, negative or positive, for the whole trial and everything. And it was all kind of pretty much during this movie, which is interesting. And Eddie Murphy was like, he just didn't want to weigh in on it, but he did like years later and said that he's like, hey, you're the director. If you call action when it's like midnight on set and these children aren't supposed to be, performing because it's, child labor laws and stuff like that, and they get killed, it's kind of on you, is what I read in an interview that he did. So, pretty interesting, but, and also like, John Landis didn't even know who Eddie Murphy was prior to this, and the Paramount executives like recommended him for this role. So, yeah, I mean,
I feel like Eddie Murphy was pretty famous already, even though this is in the early 80s.
In SNL world, yes. In like TV world, yes. He had just done 48 Hours prior to this, and that was his first like movie for the most part. This was his second, and then Beverly Hills Cop is like the one where he's like top billed, where he's the star, because he's not top billed in this, nor is he in 48 Hours. Which I'd be curious to hear your take, and we should watch 48 Hours because I watched it, and I have my thoughts on that, and I'll share that at a later time. But
yeah, I've never seen that, so
yeah,
I'd be down to watch that.
Yeah, we should definitely watch that. Yeah, I mean this movie has a lot of social commentary for sure, especially for a comedy, which is pretty interesting. And race and wealth and poverty and all that, and yeah, it's pretty interesting for a John Landis comedy to speak that way. What did you think about any of that?
Yeah, it reminded me a lot of like The Big Short, in a lot of ways. Especially like their focus in Trading Places on like kind of the inner workings of a like brokerage firm and like the stock market, scene at the end where Aykroyd basically explains, how everything kind of works. Yeah, it reminded me of The Big Short in like that kind of where like explains all this like weird shit that kind of goes on, and and it happens to both be like the different financial sectors, but yeah, that was kind of what like you could see the through lines from this to that movie,
Interesting. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, I mean, I really like the like social commentary on, race and wealth and poverty and how they go hand in hand. I mean, you've got Eddie Murphy at the beginning, on the poverty line, pretending he's a Vietnam War veteran that's an amputee with no legs, and he plays it pretty well. It's kind of funny. It's kind of also like sad. But it's interesting, and then also you've got like he bumps into Dan Aykroyd, and then Dan Aykroyd immediately thinks he's trying to steal his briefcase, and that's and then the cops arrest him, and that's like racism 101. That's especially relevant today in the world. And then I love how they trade places, as the title suggests, which the original title was going to be called Black and White, which is kind of funny.
It's a little on the nose. But.
Yeah, a little too much on the nose. I mean, John Landis hated that title, and he offered $100 to anyone who'd come up with a better title, which became Trading Places. And what's funny is he later directed Black or White, the music video for Michael Jackson, because he also did Thriller, the Thriller music video. Have you ever? I think I've asked you this. Have you seen the Thriller music video?
Yeah, I didn't know Landis directed that though. That's interesting.
Yeah, there's a couple like big time directors that have made cool music videos. I know there's one. Brian De Palma did a Dancing in the Dark, Bruce Springsteen.
Oh yeah, no shit.
Yeah,
that's funny.
I'm pretty sure he did that. I'm gonna double check that. I'm pretty sure it's De Palma.
And I think I need to check this before I say it, because otherwise I'll sound like an idiot.
Brian De Palma did it, which is very interesting. And that's also, I know we're getting off topic here, but that's the music video that basically got Courtney Cox famous. You know?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Monica from Friends. Pretty crazy. Yeah, I just think it's interesting that it was going to be called Black and White. Just, yeah, definitely on the nose. But I like that I think it's funny when he gets arrested and he's in the jail cell and he's like boasting and making up these stories that he knows kung fu and that he's rich and has a limo. And you've got these two kind of bullies, these big bullies there that, you know, one guy just keeps going, yeah, which is pretty funny. And I like that part. And they're about to kick his ass. And there's also the cameo from Gustavo Fring, he's very young. It's Giancarlo Esposito.
I missed it.
Really? He's in the trailer too. He's like the guy in the sleeveless shirt. It's Gustavo Fring,
way.
and he's like maybe 20. He's so
That's
young.
funny.
I was like, no way. And I checked like the cast on IMDb real quick, and sure enough, it's him. I was like, that's crazy. That's crazy. It's also in the trivia. He's come a long way, which is pretty funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Eddie Murphy has stated that this has been his like the most fun movie he ever made, which I could totally see that. I mean, it looked like an absolute blast. I mean, you've got the Dukes just seem like they're having an awesome time playing their characters. I mean, you got Don Amici and Ralph Bellamy, if I'm pronouncing his last name correct. I mean, they're like famous actors from like the 30s and 40s from what I was reading. And I mean, I know Don Amici from Cocoon. Have you seen Cocoon?
No.
Oh, Cocoon's awesome.
Yeah.
It's so good.
I don't know what I know my brothers watched it a lot, and I don't know why I never did.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I barely remember it, but I remember it being awesome. And I've only seen it as a kid, so hopefully it still holds true to
Yeah, I just know it's about old people.
Yeah, it's like old folks at a retirement home that basically get new life in them from like this. I think it's like an alien cocoon that they
I
go
think
in.
so.
Again, haven't seen it in years, so
Yeah.
I apologize if I'm getting it wrong. But yeah, I like. I mean the whole bet. And the Duke brothers betting on everything is hilarious. It's awesome.
Yeah.
I think that rivalry is very relatable, minus the money aspect. But I mean, if you're betting on things with your friends, it's relatable. It's entertaining for sure. And then Winthrop gets framed by Paul Gleason, the Breakfast Club principal. Mess with the bull, you get the horns. I love him. He's great in everything, and he's awesome in this. I had no idea he was in this, so it's a very cool movie of 80s actors. And again, Denholm Elliott, who's in Indiana Jones, Marcus Brody. I mean, he's awesome.
Yeah,
and he plays the butler, and he's really great in this. And I love that. I love that he gets his own. You know, he's kind of treated a little poorly by Dan Aykroyd a little bit, and I don't know. It's just, I like his arc almost. I mean, it's very simple, but I like that he's with them in the end on the island and successful.
Right. Yeah, I'm glad they didn't just use him as a throwaway character. Like they actually made him. Like incorporated him more into the story, which is nice. Because sometimes those kinds of like edge characters can just get like removed from the plot, you know, like halfway through, and then it's like, okay, why was that guy even in the movie, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's a good job bringing him, you know, all the way through, and Jamie Lee Curtis's character all the way through. Though she's a little bit more entangled, than the butler was. But
Yeah.
yeah.
I liked her character. I thought she was super sweet. I mean, it's interesting. She's a prostitute and she gets naked a few times for no reason.
Yeah.
It's kind of gratuitous. There's some gratuitous 80s nudity in this movie.
Yeah.
Not needed, but it's the 80s and they're like, yeah, just throw that in there. I read that the executives were like unsure about casting Jamie Lee Curtis, and then John Landis showed them a picture of her in a bikini and said that, yeah, she's going to be nude in this. They're like, okay, we're in. It's like, jeez. All right, creepy old fucking executives. Jesus. That's kind of Hollywood. There's that seedy
classic
underbelly
Hollywood.
of it. Yeah, gross. Ugh. But yeah, I like her. She's great in this, and it's. They were unsure about her because she'd only done horror movies, really.
Yeah.
And do you know, I mean, we talked about it, that she's married to Christopher Guest from, we did this as Spinal Tap. Do you know who her parents are?
So I know they're like famous, but I can't remember because they don't have the same last name, right?
Yeah, it's Janet Leigh from Psycho, and it's Tony Curtis.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm going to make sure I got her name right. Yeah, Janet Leigh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So she had two very famous parents.
Yeah.
Talk about nepotism. That's very like, that just came out of nowhere. Nepotism. Like, I feel like it's more predominant now.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
It's always been a thing.
Particularly Hollywood is very like nepotistic. I guess. I mean, like, there's so many people that are like tangentially related to other people, like Nicolas Cage is a
I was
Coppola.
just thinking that. Yeah.
You know, like lots of famous actors' parents or relatives were producers, that kind of stuff. Like, I think Tom Hanks is related to like a producer or something. That's how he got his break.
Interesting.
And I know at least one of Hank's kids acts. I think it's Colin Hanks.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, it's just like, I don't know. It's kind of pervasive.
Yeah, I mean, also, like,
I feel like it's definitely gotten more pervasive since like the late 70s and 80s.
it's very interesting. It's a very interesting topic right now. But honestly, like, I think it's kind of bullshit because it's like people are just jealous. Like, if my dad was fucking like Arnold, like, let's talk about Patrick Schwarzenegger here for a second. If my dad was Arnold Schwarzenegger, I'd want to fucking act too. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Like, come on.
What I think is interesting is Jesus. Scott Eastwood.
Yeah.
He actually didn't use Eastwood for a long time because
Really?
he didn't want to be accused of nepotism.
Interesting. I don't think
Yeah.
he's that good of an actor, to be honest.
He's okay. Yeah.
Again, we're going to get on a tangent here. Have you seen Wrath of Man?
No.
Dude. Watch it. Do you like Guy Ritchie movies?
Yeah.
Okay. It's, in my opinion, the
Is
most
it
underrated.
newer?
Yeah.
Okay.
It came out a
Yeah.
few years ago.
I haven't seen a lot of his last like few movies.
I love every Guy Ritchie movie
But
for the
yeah.
most part. Like
all the classics are
yeah,
spot on.
Snatch,
Yeah.
Lock, Stock, Rock and Roll is awesome. Have you seen the newest, one of his new ones, Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare?
No. I know what it is, but I haven't seen it.
You gotta see it.
Okay,
You
I'll
gotta
watch that
see
one.
it. It's so awesome. Watch that and Wrath of Man. Wrath of Man is like, I recommend that movie to like everyone because it's so, in my opinion, it's just a guilty pleasure of mine. It's just so fun and so badass, and it's great. It's super underrated. I love an underrated movie, and that's that. I don't even know what got me onto that tangent, but
Scott
nepotism.
Eastwood?
Oh yeah, because he's in. Okay, so yeah,
He's in Wrath of Man?
He's in Wrath of Man. He's the like villain in it, and he's actually pretty
nice.
good in it. I just think his voice. There's something off about his voice with Scott
I've
Eastwood.
never noticed.
His voice doesn't match his like appearance.
Okay.
That's just like the one thing I've always like seen from him, or it's like bothered me a little bit.
Yeah, I remember like, again, going off on another tangent.
I love it.
There was a big deal when he was cast in Suicide Squad, the original Suicide Squad. And supposedly he was going to turn into like a major player in the like DC universe.
Yeah.
Then like, you know, when what's his face? Joss Whedon like totally fucked up Justice League. They like scrapped like everything, and he was one of the like characters that got like really cut out of Suicide Squad, which kind of sucks. But
Yeah, I've heard a lot of things about the David Ayer Suicide Squad from like 2015 or whatever, I think 2016. That there's like people want to release the Ayer cut, which is funny. I didn't think the movie was terrible. I just thought it was okay. I mean, a lot of people shit on that movie. A lot of people.
yeah,
But
it's I don't think any of the DC movies are as bad as a lot of people pretend they are.
I know you like them for
but-
sure. You've told me.
Yeah. Particularly Batman vs Superman got a lot of hate, and
It
it's
did.
totally undeserved in my opinion.
Personally, I don't think Zack Snyder is a good director, and I tell everyone I know this.
I know
you
every
like
one
him.
of his movies I've seen like a lot. But
I know you're a
I
big
mean,
Watchmen fan.
he's a comic book nerd, so
Yeah.
like I get it, you know. But
His movies, I think maybe they're just a little too stylized. However, I do
Yeah,
love
they are.
Dawn of the Dead is fucking awesome. His
that's
remake
like
is
the one
so
I haven't
dope.
seen that he's
That's hilarious. Yeah, the one
But
you
yeah,
haven't
I've heard
seen,
that
I like.
movie's like absolutely killer.
I
so.
just remember and my eyes just like literally lit up because I was like thinking about the scene. There's the opening, like the scene with the family in the beginning, or like beginning-ish, is like terrifying to me. I also saw it kind of young when it came out. I mean, that I don't remember exactly when that came
And
out.
that was
It
like-
probably like 08,
yeah,
or was it before?
that was even before.
Was it
I
before?
think.
Because
It was before
300
Watchmen.
300 was 2006. I'm pretty sure. So Dawn, maybe it's 04.
I think Dawn of the Dead was his first movie.
I think you're right. It is 04. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was his first one. So I want to rewatch that. I wonder if that's streaming.
Yeah, we should watch that next time you're out.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I'd be down.
All right, well, back to the movie we're supposed to be talking about.
Yeah, it's fine. It's a comedy movie. These episodes are short anyway. It's all good. So I like. I was talking about Jamie Lee Curtis, and then what I was getting to is Dan Aykroyd. I like that he gets framed. That whole scene's kind of interesting. I like that they're paying Paul Gleason, the Breakfast Club principal.
What I think is funny is that their like big way to humiliate him is that he stole $150. And
Yeah.
they're all like multimillionaires.
Yeah. 3 marked bills. It's
Yeah.
and it's so like obvious. I like where he's like, put your left hand on the right shoulder of the man to your left. It's
Yeah.
like, okay. Then take your right hand and put it in their left jacket pocket. It's just like, and they're like, you can even see them. They're all kind of like, what? Okay.
yeah.
I thought that was pretty funny. Yeah, that's cool. I mean, I like when he gets arrested. That whole scene with him getting arrested and them like confiscating his like belongings. That's straight out of Blues Brothers.
Oh yeah. Well,
And that's
Frank
the
Oz was
Yeah,
in
that's the
it,
same
too.
cop.
Yeah.
That's the same cop. Yeah. Yoda. And there's like even a line he said that I was like, God, that even sounds like Yoda.
Yeah.
I forgot what it
I
was.
can't remember what he says, but yeah, I know the one you're talking about.
It was 3 to 5 mandatory. Mandatory. Like you kind of like said it, in a Yoda voice almost. You could just hear a hint of it. And I was like, Yoda. Nice.
Yeah. The one thing I wanted him to say was one prophylactic. Soiled.
That part's so good. One gold watch, one alligator skin wallet. Yeah, it's just very Blues Brothers. I mean, obviously John Landis made Blues Brothers in '80, so he made it before this. There's some other references. Originally, John Belushi was supposed to play Billy Ray Valentine in this this movie. He was also supposed to play Venkman in Ghostbusters. It sounded like I said Ghost Brothers.
Ghost Brothers.
That's the Trading Places version of Ghost Brothers. Ghost. I did it again. Ghostbusters. I like that Eddie Murphy's character Billy Ray like adjusts to the wealthy life very, very quickly and like becomes good at it. I love that. That whole characterization is really, really well done. And I like where he's having the party and people are spilling on his Persian rug. You know where that Persian rug's from? Persia. Like, I love that. I'm sure I botched the line there, but like I love it's. That's basically what he says.
Haven't you ever heard of coasters?
Yeah, it's so good.
It's a good one.
And then he kicks everyone out. It's just very interesting. And then Dan Aykroyd, it's Winthorpe. I always thought it was Winthrop, but it's Winthorpe. And like even writing it out, it like autocorrects when I'm taking notes and stuff. I was like, oh. So I'm probably gonna botch that like 16 times more during this episode. I love him at the Christmas party. Him in the Santa costume is awesome.
Dirty ass Santa costume.
Yeah, puts a giant piece of salmon in his costume, and I love when he pulls the gun on everyone, and that part's crazy. And then he's on the bus, like he escaped. He's on the bus and he pulls the salmon out and he's trying to eat it, but he's eating his beard basically, which is really funny. And then he gets off the bus stop and he goes to kill himself, which is very dark. Yeah. He goes to kill himself. The gun clicks. It's empty. He throws the gun away, but it shoots, which is like all-time comedy, if you ask me. Like whoever thought of that just... Oh, he's going to throw the gun away, and then make it shoot that time. Like he can't even kill himself. He's that big of a loser, and just a poor sucker. Like that's my favorite. That's probably my all-time favorite part of the movie. Yeah, is that scene? Then he gets pissed on by the dog. Yeah. Then it starts raining. It's just like, what else is going to happen? They keep raising the stakes a bit of like the comedy stakes, and I love that. And it's just. He's just depressed, and it's really funny. Yeah,
that whole like sequence of him in the Santa outfit is like, I think where Aykroyd really gets to shine in this movie.
Absolutely,
because like he's not usually a straight man, and like this is where he really gets to be like the weirdo like goofball, you know. So like that's I think perfect for him because like. You're kind of waiting for that, like the whole movie, and then it finally pays off, and it's worth it.
Yeah, and again, it's like they traded places as well. Eddie Murphy's kind of the goofball, and he's pretty serious in this movie the whole time versus Dan Aykroyd. So yeah, great point on that, and that's it makes it entertaining for sure. I love when he's also like hammering the whiskey bottle. Just like taking huge pulls. I'm like, Jesus, like I can't even take a shot. Like,
yeah, and he's like wearing like high-heeled platform shoes.
Yes,
just like really random.
They looked like the shoes from Pee-wee's Big Adventure when he puts them on and he's dancing on the bar in the biker bar. Yeah. I thought that exact same thing. I was like, why is he wearing those? And it's I don't know. I love when stuff like that happens with this podcast where we watch one movie and then it somehow ties into the next movie we watch, and we don't plan that out on purpose. That's just like movie magic. I'll stack that up to movie magic. But because that's pretty cool, like really cool movie coincidences. And I mean, obviously that's not intentional by any means, I feel like, obviously, because this is 83, Pee-wee's Big Adventure is 85.
Yeah.
I doubt they meant to do that, you know, but that's interesting. It's really cool. I love when that happens. And again, yeah, our schedule's completely, we just pick these out of the hat. And again, this also wasn't supposed to be the movie we were going to review. Right. So it's even better if you ask me.
Yeah.
I like when Eddie Murphy hears the Dukes talking about the bet, and then he finally, you know, goes to Dan Aykroyd's character and says, "Hey, like, let's team up against them." And it's like you're waiting for that the entire movie. But it's almost again, it's late in the movie, like I said in the beginning of this episode, and you almost expect them not to do that and for them to be enemies. But the real villains are the Dukes in this, and so I think that makes it entertaining. It is a little long, like you said, but I liked it. Like the whole movie, I liked it up and like there's some annoying parts a little bit in the beginning-ish that are kind of pointless.
Yeah.
I guess I wouldn't call them annoying, just like kind of pointless where it's like you could have chopped it a little bit and made it a little better.
Yeah, right.
But it's like once they start teaming up together, it's still entertaining, but the ending again falls apart because of their like stupid plan with the stupid costumes.
Yeah.
Like that was a little try-hard comedy, if you ask me.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you have Dan Aykroyd in blackface, which is controversial.
Jamaican
as a Jamaican
blackface.
Blackface. Does that make it worse?
I don't know.
Either way, it's not a good look
No.
these days. Maybe in the 80s it was okay or frowned upon, but it's a no-no these days, which is interesting. I mean, obviously times change. But like I guess the comedy of that is it's clearly blackface and it's clearly Dan Aykroyd. And Paul Gleason, the detective, doesn't realize this, but he does kind of.
He does at some point.
You know,
he does,
like
yeah.
You've got Jamie Lee Curtis in Lederhosen, and she's Swedish, which is kind of funny, and that's literally because she couldn't do like a particular
Austrian accent.
like an Austrian accent, and so they just were like, all right, well that's hilarious, we'll just run with it. And you've got Denholm Elliott in like a priest outfit. You've got Eddie Murphy as the what was he exactly?
He's like, what did he say? He's from Cameroon.
Yeah, Cameroon. Yeah.
It's like, yeah, he's a like exchange student from Cameroon or something.
Yeah. Merry New Year. Yeah, I that whole part to me was just kind of over the top. And I get it, it's comedy in this era is over the top a little bit. Mm-hmm. But it just kind of didn't fit for me with the rest of the mold of the movie. I think it could have been done better.
It doesn't, yeah. I feel like it was like overcomplicated scene for them to just be switching a briefcase. Like that could have happened in like any number of very simplistic ways, you know? So yeah, I don't know. I feel like they wanted to get the gorilla gag in somehow, and
I want to talk about that
to
too.
do like, you know, I don't know. Yeah, just that whole scene. I mean, that's the whole scene on the train is maybe like 10 minutes long, and it's not needed. Like it could have been like a 3-minute scene of them distracting him, switching the briefcase in the train station, and done. You know, like could have been real simple, but
yeah, agreed. And the whole gorilla gag is completely pointless. Who puts a gorilla on a fucking Amtrak train?
Right, yeah.
Makes no sense. And you've got the two dumb guys that are like watching it. And again, that was just it was like lazy comedy to me. Maybe it's just because we're used to a little bit faster pace, I guess. But it just seemed lazy and try hard.
I feel like they just wanted to throw in this guy's going to get fucked by a gorilla joke.
Yeah.
You know, and like they spent like 5 minutes of screen time just to set that up.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, like that's not like really needed.
Yeah, agreed. And maybe it's because, I mean, the movie's funny, but it wasn't like hysterical, and I think they were just like, all right, well, let's make it absurdist comedy a little bit to like amp up the comedy, and that's possibly why they did that.
Yeah,
but
I mean, yeah, I don't know. It's just like seems a bit like filler.
Yeah,
and I don't know why, because it's
yeah.
And even without that 10-minute train scene, this is still like an hour and a half movie, you know, like
it's an hour and like, because it's an hour and like 56-minute movie, I'm pretty sure. So,
yeah, I mean, it's
which is long for
a
an
comedy.
early, yeah, exactly, for an early 80s comedy. I mean, several like funny moments in this movie are kind of came by accident, like the whole money clip scene where he throws the money clip to
Mortimer.
Yeah, I'm blanking on their names. I'm terrible. Just the
Mortimer's Dukes. The
older one.
No, Randolph is the older one.
That's right.
Mortimer's the other one.
That's right. Don Amici's Mortimer. Where he throws the money clip to Mortimer and it like bounces off his hand like 3 times. That was like not intentional, which is cool. And I like loved that whole scene.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Now, also, I mean, kind of getting into the trades of trading places, there was apparently in 2010, as part of the Wall Street Transparency and Accountability Act, it was to regulate financial markets. A rule was included which barred anyone from using secret inside information to corner markets, similar to what the Duke brothers tried to do in the movie with the OJ, Frozen OJ, which is so random.
Yeah.
By the way,
which I don't think is actually a traded commodity, but
I don't
it's
think
kind
so
of
either.
Funny that that's what they're like going to corner the market in.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Yeah, and like sausages in the beginning,
Pork
like
belly,
pork bellies.
and,
Yeah.
He says like corn and yeah, pork belly just keeps coming up over and over again in the movie. For
produce. So that rule was inspired because of this movie, and it's apparently known as the Eddie Murphy rule for
funny.
not cornering the market on trades. Also, the co-writer Timothy Harris talked about Hollywood's. Like, I'm going to read this pretty much verbatim because it's really good. I copy pasted this. Credit to IMDb. Again, that's where I get all my trivia. He talked about Hollywood's reluctance to make comedies satirizing greed and social conventions. Again, Hollywood didn't do that a lot. Trading Places is sort of a throwback film that owed more to the films of the 40s and 50s than it does to anything that was going on in Hollywood at the time it was made. Brewster's Millions was a social comedy about money and greed and what it does to people. But after that, there were no films like that being made anymore. Comedies were being directed at specific groups of kids, teenagers, and that seemed to take over a great deal. I think it's probably an American thing. They're not interested in looking at that particular stuff. I don't think Hollywood is either. It's awkward for them. The important people in Hollywood are really, really filthy rich, and they don't want to see that made fun of.
Yeah, that's
like,
fair.
Isn't that interesting? It's so interesting because it's so true. Think about it. Not a lot of movies are like that. I feel like satirizing like money and stuff. And greed.
And like satire at its core is meant to poke fun at some aspect of society, whether it's social conventions or things that are more distasteful about society and stuff like that. And that's where comedy can really shine. And like I wouldn't say that like there's nothing in this movie that's like mean-spirited towards like rich people. I mean, the Dukes are depicted as kind of like really shitty people, but like Winthorpe isn't a like inherently shitty person, or
No.
you know, I mean, neither are any of the other like people that we kind of see in his periphery, you know, besides the Dukes, but they're the villains of the movie. So
Yeah. Yeah. But it is interesting that it's like not a lot of movies satirize that anymore, like, or like satirize social commentary. I don't think they could get away with it anymore. Like at this day and age, a lot of people are too sensitive with that sort of thing.
yeah, I feel like no one wants to, and because like to do satire well, you have to lean into the like behavior or the thing you're making fun of, and I feel like that's what's really off limits, you know.
I think the last great comedy that did that kind of made fun of everyone and satirized like everyone, was Harold and Kumar Escape from Guantanamo Bay. I think that was the last comedy that like kind of like was making fun of everyone in kind of stereotypical ways that if you did now, people would be offended.
Yeah, but it's an equal opportunity offender. So
Yeah, exactly. And again, it's just, I'm not trying to make social commentary here by any means, or prove a point or anything like that. My thought is, again, everyone's a little sensitive, which is fine, whatever. It's just that limits comedy so much now,
yeah,
and that's disappointing to me because it's. I get it. I mean, we're not. It's a comedy. It's a movie. It's not meant to be real.
right.
I mean, a lot of people are influenced by movies and media and all that, but I think at the end of the day, it's a film, and it's you know, it's meant to be fun and entertainment, and that's what we should look at it as, and not a form of a political agenda or anything like that.
Yeah. I think there's a little glimmer of hope, particularly in stand-up comedy right now, where a lot of that like self-imposed or otherwise imposed censorship is kind of being stripped away, and you're seeing a lot of stand-up comics really going for you know, the kill, so to speak, on some of these, you know, topics. So I hope that starts to bleed over back into movies and TV and stuff again. Because like, I mean, we've mentioned several times how like comedy as like the film genre has died for like the past 10 years, it feels like.
I can't
we need to
tell
get
you the last
some
great
of that
comedy
back.
I've seen.
Yeah, me neither. So yeah, I mean, it would be great if we could get a good comedy. Fingers
Granted-
crossed
Yeah,
for
Naked Gun.
The Naked Gun.
Yeah. Granted, I also like going back. I mean, we talked about it in a couple other episodes. Going back and looking at some of these other comedies, they are a little cringeworthy. They are a little cringeworthy with some of their topics.
Yeah, yeah. I think, you know, I there is a difference, I think, between something not aging well because of the context
Yeah.
of the time, you know, like we talked about that in 16 Candles. You know, there's a couple things that are like a little like doesn't sit well no matter who you are, you know, anymore. But like not to like just beat on this, but like, you know, there's quite a bit of racism in this movie. In Trading Places. But does not necessarily mean that John Landis or any of the actors were racists. You know, it's a mechanism that they're using to convey how shitty the Dukes are. And you know, some of the people around them, you know, and it's not meant to offend anyone beyond the universal, you know, offensive of that type of behavior, you know.
At the end of the day, it's a comedy movie. And it's meant to be enjoyed and entertain people. So
it's not like a KKK rally.
No.
It's a very different type of
it's not trying to be dissected in history classes. Yeah.
Right.
Like this is it's pure entertainment. So Yeah, I mean, I like this movie. I don't know if I'll necessarily watch it again. I don't know. What do you think about that? What's the rewatch value on it?
I'd say like low to medium, leaning towards low.
Yeah.
Like I'd maybe watch it again. Not like next year or
Yeah.
something, but at some point maybe, you know.
I think I want to start incorporating that into our reviews, like our discussions. Rewatchability. Again, I talk about that all the time because that's huge for me on movies.
Same.
So I you know, I mean, I feel like a lot of movies we're going to watch, these 80s movies, are not going to have great rewatch value, but
yeah, I mean, a lot of them we've watched, I think, have had pretty decent.
yeah.
I'd say like maybe 30% have like high rewatchability.
We should maybe look into that statistic. That'd be interesting. Speaking of watching, we will get around to Revenge of the Nerds. We will come back to that. We
can
promise.
Ever find somewhere
if
to
we
watch.
can find it. Yeah. Again, it's kind of like
all the sequels are on like Prime too, which is
Really?
dumb. Yeah.
we'll
I
have
hate
to
when
wait
they
for
do
it
that.
to. Yeah, we'll have to wait for it to be streaming or something, and then we'll squeeze it into the schedule or something.
So I don't want to buy it on Blu-ray if I've never seen it before.
I really don't either, to be honest. Yeah. So, but yeah, my brother owned this movie on Apple TV Plus or on Apple TV, like it was in his movie library. So I was like, oh, perfect. I didn't have to rent it, which is nice. So
Yeah, I had to rent it.
I know. So yeah, yeah. I'm. What do we got next? It's already going to be the end of March, which is crazy.
Yeah. So next month is sports movies.
Yes.
As we come out of the college basketball tournament month, because that's trademarked. So we've got next week is Raging Bull, which I have never seen, and I'm excited to watch.
I kind of want to buy it in 4K.
I think I bought it. I think I bought the Criterion Collection version.
I think they just like released it.
I think so. Yeah.
I'm gonna look that up.
Then we got Chariots of Fire.
Never seen it.
Neither have I. Followed by Over the Top, which
Never seen
neither
it.
of
But
us have seen.
Yeah, Sylvester Stallone, cannot wait.
And then The Color of Money, which I'm excited for.
Yeah, me too. That's a sequel to The Hustler, which I am going to watch The Hustler before that I watch that movie.
I'm going to try
for sure.
to also.
It's not streaming anywhere, but
Oh, God damn it.
I'm okay to rent that. Oh, it's the Criterion Collection Blu-ray. It's like $33. It's all right, but I think I might buy that. I can't believe you've never seen Raging Bull.
No, I know. It's
I've only seen it once though, and I watched it when I was younger.
Scorsese classic that for some reason I was always just saving it, and I don't know why, but I'm glad we're going to watch it.
Good. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed Comedy Month. Was this Comedy Month? Yeah.
Yeah.
Felt long because it was 5 weeks.
Yeah. Yep.
So hope you guys enjoyed this month with all these comedy movies. It's not the last of comedy movies. We're going to get back to some more for sure. I'm excited for Sports Month, starting off with Raging Bull. So try and watch that ahead of time and then catch us on that episode.
Yeah.
All right.
Nice sign off.
Yep. Just like last week where I talked about fucking jerking off in a movie theater, Pee Wee Herman. Yeah. So I'll leave it at that again. Yeah. No pun intended. All right, guys. We'll catch you next week and hope you enjoyed this episode.
Yep. See ya.